Yeah, Elevation is a alien invasion film in the vein of Quiet Place type things,
Yep.
where when you first are introduced to the scene, you don't see the actual invasion, you are witnessing the aftermath of it. So we are living in a world 3 years after an invasion.
Yes.
And the one of the characteristics of these invading creatures and their creatures is that they appeared to come from nowhere. They appeared out of these like boreholes in the ground or these subterranean areas, and people saying, "Oh, they've been here for a long time and they've just emerged from the depths."
Mm-hmm.
But as you sort of see them, you're thinking they just don't look anything like relates to anything else of the earth, so they look alien.
Yeah.
And but the one thing about them is they cannot go above 7,000 meters above sea level.
Yeah.
7,000 feet, sorry, 7,000 feet above. There's a difference, quite a big difference. So
Yeah.
7,000 feet above sea level, they can't cross that point.
Yeah.
So humanity has been absolutely um, stripped from the earth,
Yeah.
apart from these heights. And you have these communities where people have had to flee to the high places. So there are some countries that have just been completely denuded of people.
Yeah.
And presumably the British Isles are like that because I don't think we've got any mountains above 7,000 feet. So presumably we don't hear
Ooh.
about the rest of the world, but you assume that, we're all gone. But in
Yes. Yeah.
America, we have an area, obviously, there's the Rocky Mountains, and there's that seam of mountains that run all down that sort of Midwest to the West, the continental divide, I think you call it, isn't it? It's there. That's where we see this group of humanity, where Anthony Mackie lives,
Yes.
and he had fled there a number of years ago with his wife and his son, and his son has some medical issues, and he is running out of supplies, so he has to go below the deadline or whatever the line is called, below the line.
Yes.
He can find these supplies. And so this story is, and the adventure he goes on with his two companions. One is his friend from up the heights, who basically wants to sort of try her hand at sort of surviving with him to support him and to survive. And the other one is a scientist who has been trying to work on
Who?
a plan to see
Who?
if you can destroy these monsters.
Or as the blurb says on Amazon Prime, is like a scientist who he cannot stand.
Yeah, they have this sort of bickering relationship, but that's a bit of a front, don't you? It always is. And so, yeah,
yeah. I mean, the thing is,
so
I mean, well done for watching this film, but it's kind of like one of the things where I read the blurb and I thought, I think I know what this is. So,
yeah, yeah. There's nothing new. I don't think anything new under the sun. The only thing interesting is the post-credit scene would lend you to think that there might be a sequel, or that it might be part of something bigger.
yeah,
But as that said, it is your standard fare of your Quiet Place, where you've got limited cast doing lots of things,
hmm,
and you have these moments of like sort of these action scenes where you have these confrontations with the creatures.
oh, so is this another film that is like, is this more fuel to I was gonna say our theory, but really it's my theory that we're seeing a lot of films that were made quickly after the actors strike, where they were like, we don't need that many people, we can shoot it with a skeleton crew, go.
Yeah. So this is basically the three of them. You get the odd person has the odd line to say, but the majority of the film, it is just the three people
Okay.
in it.
All
So yeah, I
right.
think it absolutely fits within that. You could write it all down very simply, the whole
Yeah.
story.
And also there is this cynical bit of me that sort of looks at it and goes, I wonder why this film is being released now. That we have Captain America starring Anthony Mackie coming around the corner, and all of a sudden, some random film starring Anthony Mackie shows up on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, and I think the lady who plays the scientist, I remember her playing Diana in the reboot of V.
Yes, Morena
Very
Baccarin.
short hair then, but she's got long black hair
Yeah,
now.
Morena Baccarin.
That's
So,
it.
yeah,
That's
who
what I
you know?
recognise her from. Because you look at her thinking, she were in something else, but that's one I remember you from.
Oh, she is kind of like almost a genre. She was in Homeland. She was in Firefly. I think Firefly was like the
Firefly, yes, she was.
Firefly was the first time where a lot of the world got invited, got introduced to her, and
Yeah.
it's yeah, and she showed up in like the V stuff, like she showed up in different things. She's in Deadpool. She's in the Deadpool movies.
You are
Um,
right, she is.
Yes, as
Yes, I
Vanessa.
knew her. When how you're thinking, what do I know you from? What do I know you from?
It's like, where
That
have
is
I
the thing.
seen you before?
So it was, yeah. So it was your standard, I would say, post Alien Invasion film. It's become something of a trope, I think.
It
But
has become, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
so I think it falls in the give it a 6 months, we won't remember it thing. So, so for that, I thought it was fine for your what it was, but yeah, it's never going to be anything other than a three. And
Yeah.
it was a flat three. It was like I don't think it would ever be a bit more than that. It never could be more than that. But for what it was, yeah, it's a three. But Anthony Mackie, he's likable, isn't he? So you watch it, the other characters, you think you're falling into tropes. You're like, oh, we need this person, we need this person. If we're going to have three, we need to have this dynamic. And so it's a little bit by the numbers, I
You
thought.
know, it's funny you say that about Anthony Mackie because I I find it really hard to warm to Anthony Mackie. I don't. Yeah, I there's something in there, and especially now because of the fact that we have a black Captain America, and I know a big part about this new Captain America movie, New World Order, is going to be about the fact that people are having issues with there being a black Captain America. So like, so very 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 topical, and so I'm like kind of like yeah, cool, but at the same time I kind of look at him and I kind of go, I don't think he's that charismatic. I don't think he's that
No.
charismatic, and there's something I find a little wooden about him. Like where I'll tell you, for instance, right? You know when you talk about bantering, you spoke about bantering between
Yeah.
his character in this film and Morena Baccarin's character.
Yeah.
I don't think he does banter well. Like I remember seeing the TV show Falcon and Winter Soldier, and there was supposed to be this sort of
Yeah.
like bantering back and forth thing between him and Bucky, and it fell flat every single time. But every
No, he
film he's
does
in,
serious better. Yeah.
yeah. But every single film I've seen him in, he's trying to do the bantering thing, and the
Yeah.
problem is that you see him trying, and I feel like that like there's something I just don't get from him. There's something I really
Yeah.
just don't get from him, and I actually was doing some which and it felt a bit treacherous earlier this week. I was like, no, let's see, is it me or is it just that I can't just accept a black guy as heroic? But I'm like, no, but that isn't true because I love Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther, and I'm like, so who would I have had like as Captain America or as Sam Wilson? And I was like, no, if we had Sterling K. Brown, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, no, yeah, it's I just don't like Anthony Mackie. I might have a bit like how Sean has his thing with Stanley Tucci. Not as bad as
Yeah.
that because
No.
Sean,
He has a bit of a
Sean,
knee jerk one, like someone's tested his reflexes, and you get that. You.
Sean just has this irrational hatred of Stanley
Yeah.
Tucci. Just, I was like, and it's not as bad as that, and I was speaking to superfan Nina about it, and she was like saying the same thing as well. That there's just something is either that there's just something about him, but there just isn't something about him.
Yeah.
Depending on how you look at, but yeah, but I'm happy. I'm really happy that you say at least that he's likable,
Yeah.
because I just find him a really really hard screen presence to warm to, um, and on that treacherous note,
Yeah. We'll move on to cinema.
on that treacherous note, I'm
Another
gonna go.
highlight of the week.